So hi, Miss Lizzie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
How's it been so far?
So far, so good.
You've been all doing okay?
Yeah, hanging in here.
I know. Well, I want to just thank you again for meeting with me. I know it takes a lot on your time. So it just bringing this space. Thank you so
thank
much.
you for helping me.
Yeah, and I really appreciate just everything, the insight and everything that you've provided about Larry. So obviously, before we move on, I'm just planning ahead, just to briefly summarize, right, what we've discussed, making sure that we're still on that same page.
Okay.
Yes. So on our first meeting, we had talked how Larry was just shutting down during those independent, right, math and writing. And then you had also mentioned how he puts his head down, how he delays just starting to do his work on his own, and then just refusing, right? And we had identified those transitions from those guided instructions, how to the guided instructions to the independent work, it just seemed to be kind of a bigger trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So does it feel accurate for you based on what you've seen this week?
Yeah, I mean, that continues to be his the area where I see him mostly have challenges in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then would you say if there's anything new that you've noticed or anything that you would like to add on that?
No, nothing new. I think I'm also just kind of being more intentional about observing that behavior to see,
Yeah.
After we talked last time, just kind of making sure that it matches up to what we were seeing in the classroom.
Has he missed any days from school?
No, he hasn't. Okay. He has really good attendance.
That's good. And then kind of going into just reviewing that baseline, right? Looking into the baseline data that we've collected. So it just appears that Larry's putting his head down and about 2 to 3 times a day during that independent work, and on average, it's taking him about 5 to 6 minutes to begin our one directions that are giving.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, do you seem like that's consistent with what you've observed, what was being observed in class?
Yeah, I feel like it does take him quite a bit of time, especially compared to his peers, to get started on his work.
Yes, and have you noticed if it happens more in math or in writing, or about the same, would you say?
I would say I'm leaning towards more so that it's more so in math, but it wouldn't be unusual to see it pop up in writing too.
Yeah. So it's kind of in
a little bit of both.
And then just based on what we've seen, right? I think it would be helpful to focus on preventing that shutdown just before it really happens, and especially that during that transition to that independent work. So instead of responding after he disengages, like, we'll try to support him right at the start.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a plan, just something to plan out. Just thinking of a 1 week trial maybe, where I would love to hear your thoughts on whether this will feel realistic in the classroom.
Okay.
Like how would you feel? But obviously during the independent work and writing, Larry would receive, I know you mentioned he would be receiving his assignment last, so that he doesn't feel that immediate pressure. So we had kind of mentioned that on our very first meeting. And then you would just briefly just have like a private check-in before with him. So just a quick moment to just clarify directions or answer any questions that he may have. And then we would just set a clear expectation that he'll begin within the 2 minutes of direction before just being given for him. How does that sound for you, or what would you think?
Yeah, I think that's feasible. Like I said, I was already starting to give him his work last to kind of carve out that time so he feels a little less pressure. So I think by just doing that check-in with him and making sure that, I'm monitoring if there's anything that he needs off the bat, if he knows it, or if I kind of see anything where he's reticent, then that would be a good time to address it.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And so if Larry begins right with within the 2 minutes, then we would provide those specific praise, like something like, I like how you got started right away, or just giving that praise to get him going, to help him feel better. And then we can also allow him to get a small privilege or kind of like a positive reinforcement that would fit in with your classroom system. Like anything that you feel, I'm sure you have so many ideas and everything that kind of works in for incentives for students. So if he starts to feel that overwhelmed, or we could encourage like a coping strategy, just taking those deep breaths, appropriately asking for help, like, hey, I need help, or making just like a tiny note, like if you need help, just write it out on a note and give it to the teacher just before he starts putting his head down, noticing that. How do you feel? Like, do you feel comfortable implementing some of these supports, or any ideas that you might have?
Yeah, I think that the positive reinforcement when I do see him getting started will probably be helpful. Just coming up with ideas of how to figure out what will work well with him would be important. And also, things that I can easily implement and not make him look different compared to his classmates would be something that would be important.
Yes.
So just trying to figure out how to manage
with that.
Both pieces of that, giving him that reward without making him feel different, special, or isolated, or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the one important piece of it too. Yes. So is there anything you would adjust just to make it better in your routine or in the classroom itself?
Like I said, just figuring out how to actually provide those positive reinforcers for him, like what that would look like. Because I do try, and as a practice, just try not to focus on the kids that are doing wrong things. I do try to reward, and acknowledge those kids that are on task. So me saying to him, oh, I like how you got started right away, wouldn't be out of the norm. But if he earned a privilege for that, then that might be different from his classmates.
Exactly, yes. So just data collection plan, right? We'll just keep it simple and just track down the independent math and writing for that 1 week. So we'll just record like whether he begins within the 2 minutes, or how many times that he put his head down. We'll just track that. And then we'll use whether he uses a coping strategy. Like if you see him that he, which coping strategy best fits him, kind of see that. And we can just use a tally sheet and a timer if that's okay. So how do you feel? Do you think that would be something manageable, something that it would be, or do you think it's something different that you...
So I'm tracking if he starts within the first 2 minutes of a math or writing assignment, and then I'm tracking if he puts his head down. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll just tally up. We'll just tally it and have a timer within how many, during the lab of, within the minute he put his head down, such and such. So just managing that and having that so that we can then see and have that all that data collection for it.
Okay.
So our goal for this week, it'll be just to have, so Larry will begin his independent work within 2 minutes without shutting down in the four out of 5 opportunities. So do you feel that would be a good goal to start a goal?
Yeah, I think that's a good place for us to start with helping Larry with this.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And then just to summarize, I know we've been, we're going to implement this proactive supports during the independent math and writing, and just reinforcing starting within the 2 minutes and then collecting the simple data for that 1 week, as I mentioned. And then after that, we'll just meet again, if that's okay. We'll just review the progress and decide what the next steps would be. But anything else you would like to add on?
No, is there somewhere specific you want me to record the data, or how do you want to?
Yeah, I'll provide you a template.
Okay.
I'll provide you a template, so we just tally it up and have that.
Cool.
But thank you again for collaborating with me. And
thank you.
This is something that, it's really important just to help the student out and have them.
Yeah. And I appreciate your help with Larry, because I really want to see him be successful.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, well, thanks again for your input, and I'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.